Settling for mediocrity is scarier than being alone, and I promise you that. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to Hot and Unbothered, the ultimate podcast for unlocking the hottest, highest, and healthiest version of yourself. I'm your host, Brianna Gomez, and today we have a very special episode. This is our Valentine's Day special because if you don't know, Valentine's Day is my all-time favorite holiday, and you might be rolling your eyes right now. You might be saying, but I'm single, Valentine's Day is cheesy, it promotes consumerism, but no. Not in my world. Because in my world, Valentine's Day is honestly every day. It's pink and love and hearts and appreciation and cuteness. Contrary to popular belief, you do not have to be in a relationship to enjoy Valentine's Day because there's love all around us, whether it's your friendships, with your family, your coworkers, but more importantly, yourself. You can show love to yourself in the easiest ways. It is so important to show love to yourself, not just in like the cliche way, love yourself, do your self-care, do your face masks. Obviously, all that stuff is important, but I'm going to be getting into the depths of literally dating yourself and why it is so crucial to develop love for yourself before looking for love and chasing love from another person. Because I feel like as humans, that's something that a lot of us, especially as women, are on the constant chase for, honestly. We are on the hunt for someone to love us or provide for us, whatever it is that you're looking for. I feel like, admit it or not, it is something that we all want. Who doesn't want to be in love? And I think that's why on Valentine's Day, sometimes people literally become the Grinch of Valentine's Day. They get a little grouchy. They might get jealous because they're like, oh, everyone is all about love and like, where's mine? And you're gonna stay at home by yourself and cry and eat ice cream in bed, which honestly doesn't sound bad. But you guys, Valentine's Day is not just for people in relationships, and I think it's so fun to show love for yourself. Again, not just on Valentine's Day, every single day. I just think that the Valentine's Day special is the perfect opportunity to talk about the importance of dating yourself. So let's dive into it. Again, I said this in my last episode, but I feel like as women, something we do is we constantly prioritize every single little thing before ourselves. And we will love and nurture all the other people in our lives, and we forget to do the same for us. And then on the other end of the spectrum, sometimes we do tend to take a leap anytime someone shows some kind of love or affection towards us, and we kind of jump into things when we're not truly ready and we haven't really learned to prioritize and love ourselves. And in that case, it's so easy to become consumed by another person and codependent on another person because we haven't established that love for ourselves first. I know it sounds kind of like a lot, but I will be going into detail on these different concepts and kind of how to learn to love yourself and treat yourself, date yourself, because it truly is so important when you are learning to love in such a crazy world. One of my friends also had this genius idea to kind of give you guys, whether it's a mantra, affirmation, mindset, strategy, habit at the end of every podcast episode, and you guys can try it and implement it throughout your week and kind of see how it works for you. Watch the magic happen, because like I said, when you learn to develop the hot and unbothered mindset, you literally watch the world around you start to change. So I think it would be really cool to kind of give you guys a new challenge every week just to implement into your own everyday life and try it for yourselves, because it truly is baby steps. Developing a new mindset doesn't just happen overnight. So I think if I give you guys specific things to kind of track your progress and help you out, it could be really beneficial for you. So keep an ear out for that at the end of the episode. I was going to say keep an eye out, but if you're just listening, you can't keep an eye out. So keep an ear out. To get into it, I'm going to give you guys this analogy that really did change my perspective on loving yourself. Imagine that love is water in a glass for each person. So each person has their individual glass of water, and some people may have more or less, but if you have an empty glass, the water represents your love. If you don't have a lot of love for yourself, or a lot of water in this case, you can't pour it into somebody else. You have to truly be full of love in order to be able to give that off to somebody else. So So if your glass is completely empty and it's running dry, how are you going to pour into somebody else's glass? And you can't keep taking from other people's glasses if you have nothing left to reciprocate. So I think it's really important to focus on making yourself full and in a state of being able to receive and give openly rather than being desperate and so thirsty and needy for this water, this love. Because if you aren't in a state of like abundance and love and you're not whole on your own, how are you going to pursue something with someone else and love someone else? So I think that's a really big thing to think about. And it also goes to show that when we are prioritizing other people before ourselves, we're giving all this love, but we're not leaving any for ourselves. If you keep pouring all of your water into other people's glasses, but you aren't filling it up on your own, you're going to have no water. You're going to have no love for yourself. I know it's a cheesy analogy. I'm full of them, but I think it's a super important visual when it comes to learning to love yourself before being able to give it to others. You can't pour from an empty glass. You have to fill yourself up first in order to let your other relationships and aspects of your life fully grow and flourish. You have to have that love deeply rooted for yourself first. Another concept that truly changed the way I viewed the importance of self-love is imagine love is shown in percentages. And if you only love yourself at 10%, if someone comes along and they offer you 20%, that's nothing, but you're going to think of it as significantly greater than the love that you have for yourself. So you're going to be like, oh my gosh, this person's showing me so much love, because compared to the love you're showing yourself, it's still more. So you're going to jump to that when really it's less than the bare minimum. But if you love yourself at even just like 80 or 90%, even if you don't love yourself fully 100%, it's a thing that we're still learning. You love yourself a lot more than you did. And if someone comes along with that same 20%, you will look at it and laugh. You will be like, I deserve so much more than this. Like, it's all about the scale that you're looking at. Because if you love yourself that 80 or 90%, 20%, 30% is nothing compared to that. And imagine if you hit that 100%, you will never settle for less again, because you know what you are worth. You know what you deserve, because you're able to give that love to yourself. You have plenty of love to give to yourself. You don't have to pick and choose and reach for the last bit of love that comes your way, because you have plenty for yourself. And I think that's why we see them so desperate sometimes. I feel like we all have that friend, or maybe it's you, where you kind of grasp onto the first person that shows you the least bit of attention or affection, the bare minimum. Especially in today's day and age, I feel like we see so many people settle for the bare minimum. And I'm like, guys, what are you doing? I feel like we have lost our sense of self-love, because we just get so excited that anyone on the planet likes us. We just get so excited that we just jump at the first opportunity we get to get in a relationship or a situationship or be with someone. That is giving the most desperate energy. I hate to say it, but you have to remember who you are. But if you practice giving yourself the same love that you wish other people would give you, that is fulfilling, and you can feel it. And I feel like we are constantly so focused on our relationships with significant others, with boys, with friends, with coworkers, with family. And yes, those relationships are so important, but none of those relationships even compare to your relationship with yourself. That relationship is the only one that will be with you from day one to the final day. That relationship will last you forever. It's the only one that will remain no matter what. Because people will come and go in and out of your life, and you never know. It can happen in the blink of an eye. Someone will leave your life, and then you're like, I spent all of my time and effort giving myself and my love to this person, and now they're just gone. And then you left no love for yourself. That's why it's so crucial to prioritize your self-love before loving other people, because you can't even accept love or give love correctly and properly if you don't have that love within yourself. And I struggle with it as a hopeless romantic. I get it. My whole life, I have had this urge to just pour into other people. I just want to shove love in everyone's faces. I cannot help it. I love love, and I want to love everybody, and I want to receive the same love that I give back. And sometimes I get upset because I have this love just to give to everybody, which is a blessing and a curse. But for so much of my life, I spent it pushing on to other people, but not reflecting that love back in myself. I was prioritizing everyone else's happiness and health and love over my own, and it just got to the point where I didn't even realize I was doing it. Apologizing in advance, I'm going to say the E word. My ex did not like to see me happy. He did not like to see me living my dreams and pursuing the things I love. Like, oh my gosh, when I started TikTok, he hated it. He was actually my biggest hater, which is crazy to think about now. But I got into that relationship at a very young age, and I hadn't learned about my self-concept, my self-love, self-respect, and I did not have a very strong will to stick up for myself. So when my relationship got bad and toxic and honestly very unhealthy, I stayed for so long because I started to build a stronger connection and attachment to him than I did with myself, which is so scary. But if you don't truly work on building and strengthening your love for yourself, that's what happens. It's so easy to lose sight of yourself and who you are and who you want to be when you become quite literally swept away, and not in a good way, to another person. The best way I can explain it is you're literally a baby and your bones aren't that strong. You're still growing. Your structure, your mold has not been established, and you don't have a strong foundation of love. You haven't learned what love really is and what you deserve. So when you just jump into, the next best thing that you can find, even when you're being treated like shit, you haven't really learned that you don't deserve that, and that there's so much better out there and people who will treat you better and love you better, including yourself. You can love yourself better than anyone else can. It's like the Miley Cyrus song. You can buy yourself flowers. You can do everything for yourself. You don't need another person to do it. Let me preface, I am not a man hater. I love men. It's like that TikTok sound. I love men. I think they're the coolest, but you don't need one to get through the day, every single day of your life. You don't need one right now. You don't need a man to show you who you are and who you can become right now. We love men. They're great. You can continue your daily life without one. And I say this because I feel like a lot of people are like, if I had a boyfriend with money and a nice car who took me on dates, I'd be so happy. Yeah, you would be happy, but you can definitely be happy without it. And that's the dangerous part, is when you go into love looking for something, looking for fulfillment to fill a void, that's where you're going to get hurt, because you are already going into it with this codependent energy. But you have to learn that you need to be able to stand alone by yourself in order to create a good, healthy, strong relationship with another person. The relationship should be two people standing side by side straight up, not two people who need to lean on each other, who can't even walk or sleep or breathe without each other. And I used to think that's what love was. I wanted to be able to not sleep at night without a person just because I love them so much, and I can't breathe without them, I can't think without them. But no, guys, I feel like that's what we think love is. And yes, you can love someone in that way, but you also need to be your own individual beings, which is why it's so important to be so sure of yourself and who you are, because you never know when someone is going to jump ship. Relationships are so scary. I feel like some people get into them so quickly. You never know when someone's going to switch up on you or jump ship. We see it all the time. This girl's boyfriend cheated on her or whatever it may be. And what are you going to do if you are so helplessly attached to this person and you need to leave? You're going to put up with things that you don't deserve. And I'm speaking from experience. I am speaking from a place of love for you guys, because I don't want you to go through this, because it's so incredibly painful having to put up with something just because you're scared to leave and you're scared to be on your own. Because when you're in a relationship, especially a long-term one, I feel like you become so used to this person, you don't even know who you are without them when you're in that unhealthily codependent relationship. That's why it's so important, even in a relationship, to have your own sense of self. You can do things together, but you don't have to be one combined thing, I think the whole point of a relationship is being beautiful together and being beautiful apart. You don't have to be with someone in order to be happy, because you are fully as whole on your own. Relationships are supposed to be two wholes, not a half and a half that make a whole. You are two separate whole beings, and I feel like that's what a lot of people forget. I know so many people we see, they completely lose themselves in a relationship because they don't have their own sense of self-love developed before getting into that relationship. So then they feed off of the other person's love, and it makes it feel like there's something they need within them, and it's just a mess. It's so hard to watch, you guys, but I feel like we all learn from experience, and I definitely did it. I definitely did that in my first relationship, and do I regret it? Of course. Did I need it to happen in order to learn? Probably. Over time, I finally was building up the confidence. And with my platform, even though he hated watching me do it, like I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm growing and people like me and they think I'm pretty and they think I'm confident and smart and they like what I have to say. And he fucking hated that because it was making me realize my true worth and who I really was, and my potential just skyrocketed. And then I finally eventually gained the strength to walk away from someone who did not want to see me succeed. That sounds so crazy to say, but he really didn't. And because going into it, I was so young and I didn't have a strong sense of self-love developed for myself, it was so easy for me to get manipulated and stay in something because I did not realize what I truly deserved. It's possible to quite literally lose yourself in someone because you're not deeply rooted enough in who you are. You're not sure of yourself. You really can get swept away, and not in a good way. That's when it's easy to get manipulated, get emotionally taken advantage of because you have not practiced love. Love is something you need to practice and learn for yourself in order to be able to identify love in other people, like true, genuine love. And sometimes when we're looking through those rose-colored glasses, we're only seeing the good and we're so excited and we're in love. Sometimes your judgment becomes so hindered that you're not able to see, the red flags. Because even when there are red flags, if your self-love isn't strong enough, something inside you will be telling you to stay because you have that fear of being alone. You guys, being alone is not a bad thing. I will recommend to everyone that they have a single era. Jumping from relationship to relationship is actually not healthy because it requires healing in between people. You can't just keep hurting your heart because breakups are hard, relationships are hard. You're leaving them for a reason. So if you keep jumping from relationship to relationship without even healing that hurt you just went through, you're just going to be suppressing it, and eventually it's just going to blow up in your face, honestly. It requires healing and truly being able to get to know yourself and get comfortable with yourself and be at peace with the fact that you're alone. Be at peace with the fact that you are so certain with yourself and you don't need anybody else. And I think that's what we forget as women also. We forget that we are the prize. And you see women go looking for a guy like they're the last freaking one on earth, and they see a decent looking guy, a guy who will treat them decently, just mediocre. Guys, settling for mediocrity is scarier than being alone. And I promise you that. Because if you find yourself in a situation where you're content, you're not happy and you don't feel the love, you don't feel the passion, you're just that is the worst thing you could do for yourself. And if you haven't developed your self-love and your sense of self-worth, your brain is going to convince yourself that that's something you're okay with. That why leave if you're comfortable? So many people stay in relationships because they're comfortable, and it drives me insane. Yeah, you're comfortable. What else? Do they treat you good? Are they doing nice things for you? Are they speaking to your love languages? Are they treating you the way that you want to be treated and the way that you would love to treat other people? That's a whole other episode because I could go on so long with settling for the bare minimum, everything like that, because it's such a problem. You are the prize. There are so many men out there who will treat you like gold. You could get whatever you want. So stop settling, for God's sake. I literally beg you guys. You have to stop bending over backwards trying to make the wrong guy the right one, because the right guy you won't have to change to be with him because you know who you are, you know what you deserve. It's so crucial to remember that being with yourself is the main point of life. Yes, having a partner is so beautiful. I love it. But partners are supposed to add to your life, but they're not supposed to complete it. They're not supposed to be the end all be all. It's not supposed to be, oh my gosh, I can't live without you. It could feel like that. You could meet someone, it's oh my gosh, it's I've been waiting my whole life for you. But you can't depend your entire being on one person. I truly believe that the entire meaning of life is love. And I don't mean just relationship love, your whole life's mission is to have a crush that turns into your boyfriend, that turns into your husband. Yes, that's part of life that happens to a lot of people, but that's not the only meaning of love. Love is with your friends and with your family, but to me, The meaning is to truly fall in love with yourself and fall in love with your life. Fall in love with your day-to-day routine. Fall in love with the things you hate. Fall in love with going to work, like finding the silver lining in little things you love about your daily life is so beautiful. Fall in love with the sun on your back on a nice day, or like the rain on your skin on a shitty day. I really do believe that life is truly about finding love in things that other people don't love. I don't know. That just makes life fun for me. It sounds really stupid when I say it out loud, but like living life like you're in a movie and romanticizing the shit out of things, I just love it. And I think it makes life so fun. I've learned that a big part of love is learning to love without it being reciprocated. And you might kind of be like raising your eyebrow, like, isn't that completely against what you just said? Like accepting love that you don't get in return. And I don't necessarily mean it in that way, but I just mean when someone, a person in public, a customer, for example, or like a boss at work, if they treat you badly and you see they have so much hate in your heart, being able to just like look at them and respond with love anyway, because you're just so full and overflowing with love, it is the best feeling in the world. When someone at work will like yell at me or say something bitchy or rude, I love like responding even nicer. I don't know why. It just like fuels me. Yes, I get annoyed sometimes, but I love killing people with kindness. It's just the best technique because you don't want to let someone else's negative energy affect you. If you are going to remember one thing from this podcast, remember this. There is no lack in life when you are operating from love. I'll say it again for you. There is no lack in life when you are operating from love. When you are so full and overflowing of love for yourself and for other people, for that rock on the street, for the ants like crawling on the table. Like, I don't know. When you love everything, life is so easy and light, you guys. Obviously, it's hard to maintain the mindset of loving absolutely everything all the time because shitty things happen. We come across shitty people. But for the most part, just holding love in your heart at all times and, being able to feel bad and empathize with people who can't feel the same when they show you like some sort of resentment or hatred, whatever it may be, being able to empathize with whoever it is that is showing you that bad energy and send a little love their way. I don't know. Maybe that is delusionally, blindly optimistic of me, but that's how I try to go about my life because why do you want someone else to put a damper on your energy? That's the one way that I've found to truly protect your energy is to not stoop to somebody else's level and just being able to accept that sometimes no matter how much love you are giving out in the world, you're not always going to be able to reciprocate that same love back, which is why, again, it is so important to love yourself because when you love yourself, the love is truly unlimited and it's almost invincible. Like you could give and give and give love and then you could give that same love back to yourself. I don't know, sounds stupid, but I feel like that's how it works. And they say love others the way that you want to be loved. The classic treat other people the way you want to be treated. Of course, that's true, but I'll do you one better. Love yourself the way you want other people to love you. Because if you are constantly waiting for Prince Charming to come along and sweep you off your feet, you're never going to be happy. If you are constantly looking for love in all the wrong places before looking for it within yourself, you're never going to find it. That's why this podcast episode is not about relationships. It's about your relationship with yourself because, again, it is the most important one you will ever have. And the same principles go for receiving love from other people. If you don't truly believe you are worthy of the best kind of love, and if you don't even know what love feels like because you've never loved yourself, what's going to happen when a good guy finally comes along and he loves you and he wants to be with you and take care of you? You're going to freeze up. You're going to jump ship because it's scary. Love is scary. So if you are receiving love that you've never received before, what are you going to do? That is where people self-sabotage. That's where people put themselves in the avoidant state because they're scared of love because it's so powerful. And if it's brand new to you, it does get scary. So that's why sometimes people do run away from love and they avoid it because they don't know what love feels like, what a true healthy love feels like. The most beautiful relationships are the ones where both individuals are completely healed and they're stable within themselves. They know who they are and they have enough love to give give to the other person and for themselves. And there's no lack because both people are so sure of who they are. They're so sure of their love for themselves, and like the relationship is just able to flourish and it's abundant in love. That's why if you jump into it without fully developing your sense of love for yourself, without that healing, it's unfair to both parties involved because you're just committing before, making sure it's something you're really ready for and something you can do. And it's so important that you love yourself and heal the hurt in your heart before you go around hurting other people. With all of that being said, it's so important to be alone. And love does not mean with another person. Love is everything, but it is especially yourself. And there's so many different ways to practice loving yourself. So I'm going to give you guys a few to practice throughout the week, practice for Valentine's Day. Again, don't be sad if you don't have a Valentine. Take this as a blessing because one day you're probably going to be married and you're never going to have that alone time. So learn to love being with yourself. Learn to love your alone time because one day you're never going to get it back. So it's really important that you learn to be comfortable with yourself. Treat yourself the way that you would treat a best friend, a boyfriend, a family member. And if you're like me and you've had that urge to constantly pour into somebody and fill their cup, focus on filling your own first. Pour into yourself the way that you want to pour into your other relationships in life and just watch how the world changes. And again, when you direct your energy into you, you glow and people can pick up on that energy. And guys love someone who is sure of themselves and they're confident and they know who they are. I think that's one of the most attractive qualities. Like if you truly are looking for love, that's amazing, but date yourself first. Because if you really do want to find your true love, the guy for you, whoever it may be, you need to focus on yourself because you glow differently when you are pouring into yourself and people eat that up. I'm telling you. Hey, you heard it here first. Like that is the way to go. Date yourself. The other people will follow. There's a whole metaphor of the flower and the bee, okay? You are the flower and the flower does not grow legs, walk out of the ground and go around looking for the bee to come pollinate it. No, the bee comes to the flower after the flower is nourished and fed and watered and it grows into this beautiful, vibrant flower. The bee comes to the flower, okay? You don't have to do anything else but focus on you. So this week, I really want to give you guys some tips and tricks on little acts of self-love that you can give for yourself, whether that is getting an extra hour of sleep. Your self-care is so important, and I personally have always neglected my sleep, which neglects your health, and it's not good for you. So practice some sort of healthy way to show self-love, or that could mean waking up 30 minutes earlier to make yourself a nice breakfast. Give yourself a little breakfast date, or do a movie night with yourself, light a candle, do your nails, put on a face mask, whatever truly does fill you with joy. I want you to do that, but do it with yourself. Going to the beach or going anywhere on a hike by yourself, it's so rewarding, honestly. I love that feeling. If you haven't tried it, I highly recommend. Do it in a safe way, obviously. Let someone know where you're going. Learning to be comfortable with yourself, take yourself on dates, and be less codependent on those around you, it truly is so fulfilling. Here is one that I'm going to give you guys for this week's challenge. I want you to write a love letter to yourself. I know it sounds maybe cheesy, but I highly recommend you try it because anything that you write down or see in front of you, it will also translate into your brain. So if you are focusing on all the different ways you love yourself, you are just emphasizing that. You are just bringing the love out of you and straight to the forefront. We don't need outside validation. We don't need a boy or a friend or people online to be telling us how beautiful and worthy we are. Tell yourself. This is going to act as a form of affirmation, but also just something really sweet for yourself for Valentine's Day. And you can hang this up as well. Put it on your mirror, put it in your car, put it somewhere where you will see it every single day, just to remind yourself that even if you have no one in this life, you will always have yourself. And that is more than enough. And if you can't think of anything, sit there and look in the mirror until you find something you love about yourself, because it's in there. You just have to flip the switch in your brain to that operating from love mindset, and then all of it will just come out. And say thank you to my body for waking up every day and taking me to where I need to go. Thank you to my eyes for being able to see the ocean waves. It could be the stupidest shit. I do not care. but thank yourself and say the things that you admire about yourself and write that you love yourself, because you have to believe it's true. Because if you can't find something to love about yourself, how will anyone else? You have to truly believe that you are worthy and deserving and full of love in order for other people to believe it too. It truly does all start within yourself, in your mindset, and you have the power to control that. And write on your paper that you are abundant and that you are overflowing with love and that you're so grateful that you have the ability to love other people and yourself. Write that you love your laugh. If your laugh is something that you hate about yourself, write down that you love your laugh, because you need to start appreciating all the little things about yourself. There's so much to love and you are so unique, and that's why it's so important to find the little details about yourself that someone else will be lucky enough to know. Let me know how you guys like that little exercise, and I want you to remember throughout your week as well that there is no lack in life when you are operating from love. Try implementing that mindset within your day-to-day life throughout the next week. If someone's giving you negative energy, just respond with even more love. Wake up in the morning and be so enthusiastic and happy to wake up. Like, even if you are going to work at 6 in the morning, say, oh my gosh, like, I am so thankful and lucky that my body got me up today, and I love my body for doing that for me. It's the stupidest things, but romanticize the fuck out of your life, you guys. There's no other life for you but this one, so you might as well make the most of it and enjoy it. And I feel like romanticizing life just makes it 10 times more fun and enjoyable. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I hope you have a very happy Valentine's Day. Hang with your girls, hang with your boy, hang with yourself. It doesn't matter. Practice love all around every day, because it will make you feel so full inside. I love you guys so much. Keep up with us on Instagram at Hot Unbothered. Feel free to rate this podcast for me if you're listening on Spotify. If you are watching on YouTube, feel free to leave a comment and a like for me. Message me if you guys ever need anything, and let me know what other future episodes you'd like to see. And I'll talk to you guys next Friday. Love you. Bye.